Yeah, I mean, I think like I'll call it hyper. I would call it almost like hyper tokenization
Okay.
vis-a-vis sort of hyper Bitcoinization,
Okay.
because I think there's going to be, I think Bitcoin until its value, until sort of like value can stabilize, sort of around a certain thing. But if it stabilizes, then it gets it's sort of like all the other like sort of thesis of Bitcoin goes away, in that it needs to be a value of exchange, right? Like I said before, like when we're signing a deal for $10, we need to know, or even if it's denominated in pesos or in Sing dollars or Viet or Thai baht, whatever the value that we sign exchange in, like both sides needs to sort of have some kind of an agreement that this is the value of exchange.
According to Wei Zhou, the former chief financial officer of Binance and current CEO of Coins, hypertokenization is a more feasible outcome than hyper-Bitcoinization. Zhao shared his perspective on the path towards widespread adoption with Kiko News, noting that Bitcoin's volatility is a major obstacle to its role as the leading catalyst for global cryptocurrency adoption. Zhou asserted that for transactions to occur smoothly, it is crucial to have price stability. However, if Bitcoin were to become stable, it would lose its value appreciation factor that makes it an attractive investment option. Instead, Zhou preferred to use the term hypertokenization to describe the point of mass adoption. This refers to tokens other than Bitcoin that can provide transactional capabilities through price stability. Zhao said the stablecoin market is a growing sector, as evidenced by the concerted push to roll out central bank digital currencies, which are essentially stable coins nominated in local currencies. Prior to beginning the video, ensure that you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so that you receive prompt updates.
And I think with sort of the fluctuation in price and the volatility in price of Bitcoin, it will be really hard for Bitcoin to act as a value of exchange, right? Just because of the volatility in its price, and that which provides sort of like the other use case of Bitcoin, which is like storage of value and increase in the value that you hold, right? So I think that sort of like that actually conflicts, and until sort of someday that conflict gets resolved, then it's really hard. But I think other types of tokens can provide that use case, right? And I think you're seeing that now with sort of like CDBCs, which essentially are just basically just going to be stable coins that's denominated in local currencies. I think more and more you're going to see more and more sort of stable coin like type of tokens, that sort of like firm up, the value of exchange in different countries. I think that's when you get more tokenization,
Mhm.
and when you get sort of like like large scale tokenization, even if it's a tokenization of a type of fiat, you're going to get more users, more adoption, I think, of tokens in general. And I think that's just going to drive value, I think, to the sort of, I would say, the mainstream tokens like Bitcoin, and more use cases in terms of like not just centralized wallets but decentralized wallets. Because I think once you go down that rabbit hole of actually using tokens as a value of exchange, using tokens in day to day, you're just going to realize that, hey, this is just better. Like one of the mission that we have at Coins is how do we drive value transfer from T plus 3 plus 5%, or T plus
Mm.
5 to 5%, to
Yeah.
T plus 0 at T plus 0 plus 0. Right? Which is like, how do we drive, which kind of exists in crypto today, and pretty close, right? You can actually send money with almost instant settlement and almost like zero fees, right? T plus 0 plus 0. I think more once you start using token, you realize you can actually, transfer things, very different from banks, very different from other types of, payment providers. Then you're gonna that's when sort of the aha moment happens, and you're gonna start moving more of your transactions into tokens, into crypto.
Wei Zhou stated that Coins aspires to create a novel method for users to earn and live online while also allowing them to spend offline and in the physical world. The company aims to offer played earn gaming and facilitate low-cost pesos remittance transfers via blockchain technology to Filipinos in 2023. He also said, I believe that we're still very early in the growth and adoption of cryptocurrency.
I left finance in the actually summer of 2021, so almost about a year, almost coming on a year and a half, coming on 2 years. And after I left, there's I was looking at, just generally what to do. I think one thing I was sort of 100% certain on was actually to stay in the industry, stay building, I think. And I think, one of the things that I saw in terms of sort of like, just user base, global adoption perspective, like one comment that I kind of made is like, like maybe in the world, there's this many people that trade crypto, right? And then maybe there's many people that sort of like look for yield, right? Yield seeking. That's where sort of that's sort of exchanging DeFi. The GDP per capita is actually not at sort of the $10,000 level. It's still sort of sub 10,000 US dollars per year. It's like in the 5,000 to $8,000 range. So sort of like people are willing to do things or willing to take on tasks that allows them to basically earn amount of money that I think in the fully developed world it wouldn't do. So sort of it has what I'm trying to say is that Philippines has a sort of all of these sort of like it's like the cross section of this Venn diagram that kind of made it, very kind of like the right place, I think, for crypto adoption. And then the other thing that sort of made coins.ph really interesting is that it has pretty much all of the licenses that you need to conduct a regulated crypto exchange plus payment plus remittance business. It's licensed by the central bank as a remittance company, as an FX dealing company, as a payment. It has actually a payment license. So you can actually do what Venmo does in the US. And it also has a cryptocurrency exchange. You can actually do what Coinbase does, like in the Philippines. So with all of these licenses, it was probably, and it's been around for a bit, and it's got an established user base and an established brand. So sort of, so in last year, in 2022, I basically worked with a buyout fund called Joffrey Partners, and we basically bought out coins from the previous shareholder Gojek, and we basically became controlling shareholders in the business. And I put myself and down and CEO to sort of officially take over and really hope to build coins into a crypto or Web3 powerhouse in not just the Philippines, but I think in Southeast Asia as a whole.
Wei Zhao expressed his support for regulations, citing the potential dire consequences of a lack of regulations. He referenced the cryptocurrency industry's harsh reminder of this last year. Using FTX as an example, Zhao emphasized the importance of regulations. Since FTX was an offshore company, it operated outside the jurisdiction of regulators in most countries. He said, restoring trust in crypto is critical, but it's by no means the only factor that will determine the success of crypto this year and the future. While inflation, interest rates, and the political climate will play a big role, I believe that smart regulations will be the biggest factor in restoring trust in crypto.
Yeah, so different countries have different regulators for cryptocurrency well, I think the general term that people use in the industry use now is VAS, virtual asset service providers. I think like and it just that it so happens in the Philippines, the BSP, the central bank, is the regulator that hands out VASP licenses. I think in Thailand it's the SEC, right? In Indonesia, in Singapore it's the MAS, right? Different countries have different regulators. In Japan, I think it's the JFSA, right? And I think in the US, you basically see this thing of just like, who is the regulator, right? Is it the securities regulators? Is it the commodities regulators? And in Indonesia right now, it's the commodity regulators that's kind of regulating it. It's just that I think in different countries, different. I think in the Philippines, the central bank is the most respected, is the more regulatory authority. We also communicate with the SEC as well on certain certain trading practices and listing anything that touches on securities. But it just so happens right now the licensing regime is the BSP. What's interesting about that is I think it focuses on sort of the original concerns I think that industry and regulators have had about crypto, which is basically how do we counter money laundering, how do we counter other types of illicit activities that take place. I think that could take place, via sort of crypto rails, and I think that's something that we've been sort of focused on and have been sort of working with our regulators on from day one. So I think what you're seeing is sort of the evolution. I think of crypto regulation.
Zhao believes that the Philippines has the potential to achieve significant blockchain adoption and emerge as its hub as it advances. However, he emphasized that to accomplish this, we must incorporate crypto, NFT, and other digital assets into our daily lives. That concludes our conversation for today. We welcome your opinions in the comment section below. If you found this video informative or enjoyable, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay abreast of the newest videos and news. We'll see you again soon.